Good evening, friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel Agribusiness A Journey. Today, I will discuss about another important chapter in agribusiness management and policy, that is international trade, the beginning. When we have discussed about trade, think about when there will be no trade, then how the scenario will be so much difficult for all the stakeholders. Where there is large production, price will be going down, and where there will be large demand, then ultimately the price will be going high and leads to black marketing. So ultimately you need an effective trade either in the country, or you can say that inter-regional trade, or you need the trade in across the countries, you can say that international trade. Let's discuss in various point of view how international trade is an important one need to be discussed. When I describe about the international trade, you know that one part is the developed countries lead by the industry, and another part the developing country lead by the agriculture. Developed countries have comparatively very low populations. So ultimately, they have the advantage of abundant resources. Whereas the developing countries and the underdeveloped countries have high populations and scanty of resources. When one part of the globe or the developed countries are getting the better hand of the resources, and another part always facing the difficulties to use the resources, to have the resources, then ultimately international trade is that scenario that helps to rationalize the resources, both developing countries and the developed countries. When developed countries have the abundant resources, they produce maximum, but they have very poor demand due to the lack of population. Whereas the developing countries, high populations, but could not produce the enough product due to the lack of capital. So developed countries always look to the east, and developing countries always look to the west. Developed countries always supply the capital to the developing countries, and developing countries always needs capital for utilization of the resources. In that context, a trade has been settled down, that is called as the international trade. But international trade also be impacted by other factors. One is the natural advantage. You all know that India is the leading country in mica production. India and Sri Lanka contributes more than 80% in tea production. West Bengal and Bangladesh is the leading areas where you find the maximum jute production. If you are in a business, then definitely you need raw material and subsidiary business advantages to give more efficiency and effectiveness for your system. So you always be dependent on other countries for getting that advantage. You all know that developed countries has dominated by the agriculture. Their labors are more equipped with the labor capabilities. Whereas the developed countries where the industries are quite higher, their the workforce they have, their occupational advantage are completely different, and they are also skilled in different podium, or you can different paraphernalias. Infrastructural advantages is, you all know that one thing always be connected with the infrastructure, mainly in connection to the international trade, that is the logistics. If you have the very poor logistic system, then ultimately logistic cost will be increased, and that will be increase the supply chain. So to control the logistic cost, you have to settle your business by V by W formula, V by W formula. It means when volume is quite higher than the weight, that's the V by W formula. It means you are in a paddy business, cotton business, fish business. Then industry should be at the near to the raw materials. When the volume by weight is quite less, it means you are in a glass industries, bottle industries, diamond industries. Your industry should be near to the market. To settle your efficiencies and gaining the infrastructural advantage, you have to definitely need other areas where that type of the industry and that type of the raw metal has been found out. So you need in international trade. Numbers of time you know that developed countries is known for the mass production. Mass production means ultimately their economies of scales are quite higher and ultimately their price has been less or very less price is very less. Whereas in the developing countries we have the advantage of our labor resources. Our cost in labor or labor cost is so less, ultimately our price also be lesser. So if you are in a business, if like to be either developed countries or the developing countries, ultimately to getting the cost advantage you need some trade. But international trade leads to numbers of issues. One is the monocropping, the commodity which have maximum international values that has been produced by the countries, and you all know that monocropping leads to poor natural resource management. Day by day your natural resources are going down. International trade leads to lopsided development. Lopsided development means when particularly in the developing countries and the underdeveloped countries, you will find that they are observed the dual economy due to the international trade. The product or the industry which have maximum demand across the globe that has been grow faster, and those have less demand that has not been at par with the pace. If this is the things, then you will find the disparity in the income level due to the international trade. You have to be checked that if you are in that business. You in the international trade, numbers of time international demonstration effect has been observed, particularly in the underdeveloped countries and the developing countries. We used those products, those are mainly observed in the foreign countries. Mainly you can say that a perfume, and you may observe the articles mainly observed in the home, particularly in your home. If this is the things, then international trade has the disadvantage position. Issues of balance of payment. When you are in a trading business or the international trade business, numbers of time your balance of payment has been hampered. So ultimately international trade gives some negative impact on your business. Besides that, international trade also be countervailed by political risk, economic risk, socio-cultural risk, interest rate risk, and legal risk. You all know that after 1991, when many organizations are coming to our country, India has been closed down because our people have not enough consumer surplus to buy their product. When McDonald's has come to India with beef as the product in their menu beef as the product, that has been rejected by our country people. Numbers of times when you are trading, international interest rate fluctuation has been observed. When both the countries or many countries has been connected with the international trade, their political interference has been going or increasing quite a lot and leads to the legal risk. And you know that when numbers of risk has been coming, then ultimately you will find an institution that is you call as the WTO, World Trade Organizations, has been established in the time of 1995 January 1 to control the risk and motivate the players to go for the international trade in a sustained manner. Last questions. Do you really need trade? For me, of course, yes. But international trade has numbers of other paraphernalia or other type of the discussions you need to think about to understand the international trade in various front, economic front, social front, numbers of fronts are there, numbers of ways to describe the things. People say that international trade is essential because in the particular countries, in the long run, your cost and the price will be almost equal. Or you can say that if you are in a business, in the long run, you will get only normal profit. Why you get the normal profit? Because your labor and capital are very less mobile, or they are very stagnant one. They will not mobile or move on from one area to another. If international trade will going on, then ultimately you will find the widening of the market. Your capital moves on from one country to another. Labor, though it is very less mobile, still they moves on, and in the long run, your organization will go getting little bit of the profit, or it is getting more than the normal profit. You can say that. That's why also you need the international trade. Thank you all. Thank you watching my video.